Bim, guess what? It's just gone 8 o'clock and it's Saturday. And that means one thing. It's time for what a week that was. And this week we've got loads of stuff to look at. Is Suella really Cruella? See what we did there. No, I didn't either, I'll be honest with you. Is Putin dead? What's going on in Australia? Apparently Australia are my second most watchers live in. I don't even know how to describe that. But the second country that watches my videos are Australia. So, hello Australia, good day and all that. Welcome to the channel. Do loads of stuff. I assume they're all expats, to be fair, but we'll go with it. Hello Alan, welcome to the broadcast. So yes, we are going to be doing look at the news. We've got protests. We've got 2 wars to look at. 2 wars, not 1 but 2. The hell's that? Oh, it's that. Let's move that out of the way. I don't like that. Gone. Yeah, we've got 2 wars and various other bits and pieces to get through. I've also got a really itchy foot. So if I am scratching, hands are there, I'm just scratching my foot. It's a bit itchy tonight, I don't know why. Hello Smiley, hope you're good. Smiley's currently on holiday in Hawaii. Wow. Sherlock Blades, Sherlock Blades. Long time no see, but welcome back. So yeah, we're going to start looking at what is going on in the world. Feeding batteries later on in Day. So what is going on in the world? Well, there's lots of stuff going on. Supermarket to act self-checkout amid customer backlash. Booths, rightly so as well. Lancaster Bummer landmark set to be bigger than Angel of North under ambitious new plans. So they're building a massive Lancaster bomber. And I don't know where that's going to be because it's breaking news. When should you stop wearing a poppy after Remembrance Day? I've not bought a poppy, so I'm not doing. New bigger store opening for a B&M. We've obviously got a massive one in Wigan already. I can imagine the town centre ones are going to be going soon. Tommy Robinson leaves protesters in Chinatown. Tommy Robinson, absolute. Godzilla-sized waves could smash into UK seaside towns in a doom warning. There's lots of stuff going on. Several underground lines to be closed for hours. Doesn't worry, I live in Wigan. We don't have any access to the London Underground. Lost Doctor Who episodes found, but his owner is reluctant to hand it to the BBC. Well, technically it's their property, isn't it? Get it back again. And the F1 Las Vegas Grand Prix is set to start next week. I thought it was this week, so I was a bit gutted when I found out it wasn't. It's all about rubbish stuff there, so we'll ignore that. Northern Lights may be visible across the UK tonight, but it's best looking at it through your mobile phone apparently. Who knew? Older drivers above the age of 70 could be fined for taking medicines, i.e. some of the medicines they take. What else is going on? World's biggest bank hit by cyber attack, forcing it to trade with USB sticks, and that's a Chinese bank, obviously. UK faces warning. Britain faces 10-day deluge as jet stream sends relentless torrential rain. But don't worry, there'll be hosepipe bans all over the country by February. I'm not even joking, you know it's true. Well, loads of people are in. So let's say hello to everyone. Hi Eleni. Hiya Daniel. Hiya Luke. You're all welcome. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Shall we get on with the actual main newsy bit? of this because it is about the news, and all I've done is gone on about what's going on at the moment. I'm also thinking of doing another bit called Opinion, which I may start with before I do breaking news. So yeah, let's go. So the week started for us, as it always does, on a Sunday, because Sunday is the start of the week. Everyone knows that, and if you don't know that, then you don't know what you're doing. Hi JT, hi Rachel as well. Hope you're good, hope you're well, hope you are all living the life of Raleigh. Why are these all messed up? Why is that there? That should not be there, that should be at the bottom there, but it's not there. What is going on? Oh, this could be good. I don't want your opinion on that, no. I don't even know what the opinion on what you're asking. Anyway, concerns about the Ukraine war. People are saying the Ukraine war hasn't been mentioned on the main news, but it has. But it's obviously been overshadowed, rightly or wrongly, by the illegal war that's going on in Gaza. One illegal war and another illegal war. Anyway, concerns in Ukraine that the war is at a stalemate and winter is about to set in. Tell me about it. It's freezing. Meanwhile, in Gaza, the phones and internet off again. Some leaders say Israel is losing its humanity. Basically, rage is taking over, which is not a good thing. Leader of Burnley Council and 11 other councillors have resigned from the Labour Party over the lack of humanity from Sir Keir Starmer. Who knew? It's on his stance on the Gazan conflict and the fact he doesn't want to call for a ceasefire. Let's be honest, at the end of the day, we're watching mass murder go on. I'm not defending Hamas in any way. Why is it if you say anything against Israel, you are basically I'll rephrase that. Why is it if you support not killing innocent civilians in Palestine, you're anti-Semitic and you're supporting Hamas? I'm not supporting Hamas. Hamas needs to be destroyed, but as I've said for weeks and weeks and weeks now, Israel has the capabilities of destroying Hamas with the weapons they've got, because they've been at war for decades. They've got some of the best weapons and the most accurate weapons in the world, and they're just going around slaughtering people. They're even telling people, the civilians, to go to safe areas, and then they're bombing it. Now, what's the difference between that and using trains 80 years ago? That's where mine's at. And it doesn't matter who it is. If this was the UK or England doing the same to the Welsh after the Welsh separatists had come over and murdered people in England, I wouldn't expect England to go to Wales and just flatten it and then tell people to move to a safe area and then bomb that safe area. Israel, as far as I'm concerned at the moment, are they should get some electric cars. And you see, you wonder why I get thrown sometimes. That's the problem with being live. You can't edit these bits out. But no, you think about it. Israel had a horrendous thing happen. Now, whether it was allowed to happen, whether they wanted it to happen, whether they thought if we sacrifice some of our civilians, we then have the right to go and destroy Gaza, and they're now going into the West Bank as well. We can do ethnic cleansing, we can get rid of all the Palestinians, and we can just take over their land. And that's what it feels like is going on at the minute. And telling people to move down south and then chucking loads and loads of bombs on the place where they've told people to go to, it's no different from trains. That's all I'm saying. It is just unbelievable. And we're still supporting it as a country, which is unbelievable as well. Not supporting Hamas. And because I've said that, doesn't mean that I agree with anything that Hamas has ever done. I don't. I think they should be destroyed. But Israel has definitely got the ways and means of doing it. More fallout as well for Keir Starmer, as he's still not moving his stance, shall we say, on Israel. Oh, Angela's here. Hi, Angela. You're all right. Daniel Vernon, welcome. I've never been abroad, mate. Never been abroad. But yeah, that is what ethnic cleansing looks like in the 21st century. And they're saying all these are legitimate targets. These are where people live. If they know where Hamas is, then why don't they just get down them tunnels and either put gas down them tunnels or do something in them tunnels? It's just ridiculous that they are killing innocent people and children, and the world is just watching, and a lot of the world is agreeing with them. I mean, we've got no comeback because of what we did as a country in the Middle East with Blair and Bush, who, as I've said many times, should be war criminals and should be in prison, or at least been in prison by now. But anyway, we digress. So Monday, Israel say no to ceasefires or a pause in the fighting, despite requests now from the US. And Hamas are saying over 10,000 people have died now in Gaza. UN repeats Israel is not legally what? I don't know. Should go abroad, it's good. I haven't got a passport. I don't technically exist. Met police are asked to stop the pro-Palestinian marches on Armistice weekend. This is on Monday. Following protests which disrupted train stations and various other things in London and surrounding areas earlier on in the month. In fact, there's been regular protests. Stop Gaza genocide, that sign says, and that's what we're all on about. We don't care about Hamas. You can do what you want with Hamas, just stop killing children. Laney's, yeah, I've already said hello to Laney, hope you're good. Meanwhile, Donald Trump, he's actually raising his head in this part. Wow. He clashed with the judge in his civil trial over his money allegations of it not being maybe truthful about his wealth. Donald Trump, truthful? That's two words I'd never thought I'd say in a sentence, but to be fair, the sentence did have the word not in it, so that kind of makes sense. British Steel, which is not owned by anyone in Britain anymore, is to close 2 blast furnaces in the UK. Basically, China has won this one, and we can no longer make steel and compete with China, which means, of course, we're now relying on China even more, which of course means that China can do whatever it wants because we can't do anything to stop it, because we need their steel and their various other bits and pieces as well. Why does that keep moving? That's really annoying me. So it brings us nicely to that there Tuesday. And surprisingly, there is more criticism for Israel from WHO, which is the World Health Organization, who find it hard to fathom the actions that they say are being taken by Israel in Gaza. Meanwhile, in the UK, everyone's favourite king that we currently have, the old one we've got, he did his first King's speech, although I think technically, if he did one last year, he was the king, even though he hadn't been crowned at this point, because the Queen died the year before. It's just bonkers. But anyway, King's first speech, and it focused on crime, phased ban on smoking, new oil and gas licences. Now, I can imagine that the King, who has been, I've said many times before, when he was a prince, he was very vocal on green issues, tree hugger and all that kind of thing, and he was the first one to really on his land go for farming without chemicals and pesticides and things like that. Who? Not Doctor Who. No, I wouldn't go to America, Daniel, if I had a passport, but thank you. But yeah, he basically had to read out, because the king, although he's king, he's got no powers. This is more ceremonial. This is more for the cameras and for the world audience. So people think that the king dresses like that all the time, and there's the horse next. I'm sorry, Camilla next to him, who people seem to be warming to, and I have no idea why. She's the other woman. You don't warm to the other woman. I agree with the phase ban on smoking. So I think if you were born in 2009, you would never legally be able to buy cigarettes, no matter how old you are. And someone pointed out that means in many years' time there'll be a 70-year-old waiting outside a shop for a 71-year-old to go in and buy cigarettes for them illegally. That's assuming there's any shops left that can sell cigarettes. But yeah, it's the only way to stop it. Do it a phased way. But they should do it with vapes as well, although vapes technically are illegal for anyone. Well, you don't want to go to America because I have no holes in my body, and I don't want to go there and have holes in my body from stray bullets that just seem to fly around willy and nilly. Sad news from Leeds. A 15-year-old schoolboy stabbed to death. Another teenager has been arrested on suspicion of murder. Now, not being racist here, but one thing that was surprising is the fact that it is a white boy, because I cannot remember the last time I saw an image of someone who'd been stabbed who was white. But either way, it doesn't matter who it is, it's just absolutely awful. Meanwhile, in space, woo, it's that thing up there. The first pictures came back from USLID. It's the satellite that we looked at a few months ago when it got launched, and it took that picture. Now, I don't know about you, but I think there's some dust on the camera because that's a dreadful picture. It's absolutely bloody awful. Bloody awful. They should have, cleaned the lens or something. But anyway, that was Tuesday. That was a Tuesday, that was. Wednesday came along. It usually does. After a Tuesday. Surprisingly. Whoops, wrong one. Looks like a dragon. I was thinking it looks like something. Maybe it's Nessie. Oh my god. That's why the picture's so crap. Because every picture of Nessie is blurry and horrible. So maybe it's not from space after all. Maybe it was just practicing shooting a picture on Loch Ness and it actually found Nessie. Anyway, the US say that Israel cannot occupy the Gaza once they've killed everyone in Gaza, because that's illegal. But they think ethnic cleansing is okay because that's technically what's going on. And why no one else can see it, I don't know. It's just freaks me out. At the COVID party, sorry. The COVID inquiry. It was said that Matt Hancock, everyone's favourite celebrity out there, said that we should have chickenpox parties. So if someone's got COVID, then you invite your mates round and you snog them, I assume, and we all get COVID, and then the herd immunity is there. We save lots of money. Everyone can go to work, and the people who die, well, they're probably going to die anyway. Okay, I may have added a bit on that, but that's basically what they're going on about. And to be fair, we all think about things out loud when we're in private, not expecting it necessarily to come out in the public domain sometime later. And it might have been a good idea. We don't know. A bit like Boris Johnson when he was on about blowing a hairdryer up your nose. It might still be the best cure for COVID. We don't know. I'm not suggesting by any stretch of the imagination you blow a hairdryer up your nose. I don't even own a hairdryer, so I couldn't even try it, even if I was daft enough. It's Puff the Magic Dragon. That was the picture of the thing. Thank you, Angela. Very good. We do like that one. That's a good one. Meanwhile, how to get things so wrong. Free Palestine, spelt wrong, because there are 3 E's there instead of just 2 E's. And Palestine, I think is spelt correctly, but it was daubed over a war memorial in Rochdale, which is possibly one of the most disrespectful things that I've seen. Now, I agree that there shouldn't be deaths in Palestine, and I agree that Israel should be brought to account for what they're currently doing, as should Hamas, don't get me wrong, but desecrating a war memorial I think is beyond the pale, and it kind of will irritate people who want to support Palestine but then don't want to do it because they think they're going to get thought of like these kids, technically, who did this. Apparently 2 teenagers have been arrested for the desecration of the war memorial. Now, I do my silly walk rounds. I go to different towns, cities, villages, holiday resorts, that kind of thing, and I just take the mickey out of them. And it really winds up the locals and everything. But one thing I never do is take a mickey out of a war memorial. In fact, what I do is I have a pause, and I either go up or go down the war memorial or go along the war memorial, depending what kind of war memorial it is. And I don't say anything. I just have, we must remember them, or we must respect them, or we must never forget. It comes up as a text, because I think that what these people did years ago, for the sake of us now, basically sacrificing their lives, there is no way we can disrespect that. The problem you've got now is, and I've said this many times, that if there was a war now, how many of the youth, I'm not just talking about youth who are 2nd, 3rd generation immigrant family youth, I'm talking about general youth who could trace back their lineage just in the United Kingdom for centuries. How many of them would actually go to war for this country and do what these gentlemen and ladies did? Very few, I fear, and that's part of the problem. We are losing the proudness to be British. And even though we agree necessarily, or most of us agree, that something has to be done to try and ease the suffering for the people in Gaza who are innocently caught up in this war, not Hamas. Hamas need to be eliminated, but the innocent people who've been caught up, we don't do it like this. We do it with either peaceful protests or other peaceful ways of doing it that do not disrespect the fallen from various wars. Looks like a dragon, yeah. Hate watching, please hit the like, share, subscribe button. Okay, let's try and get up to 4K. Is it tomorrow? Or next Sunday, Memorial Day? Tomorrow. At the epitaph? Cenotaph, not the epitaph. But no, I think anyone who does stuff like that needs to have some major community service given to them. I don't think they need to go to prison necessarily, but certainly major community service, and they need to go to clean up war memorials and maybe talk to some of these old gentlemen who are still with us who actually fought in the war for their now freedom, which they may not have got in their family's country of origin. Anyway, we'll wait and see. So that was Wednesday. Does anyone ever actually use the "nz" bit of Wednesday? Or do we just say Wednesday? Or am I actually doing it saying Wednesday? I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter because now it's Thursday. I mean, it's not, it's still Sunday. Saturday, Jesus. For the sake of this, it is now Thursday. So what happened on Thursday? Well, nothing good. Cruella de Vil, Suella Braverviven, has been, she says some stuff that the government don't agree with, even though she's the Home Secretary, which is one of the most powerful jobs in the country. However, the problem the government have got is a lot of the general public, because I've spoke to, okay, not a huge amount of general public, but when Cruella comes up in conversation, it is mentioned that they agree with what she says. They don't necessarily agree with her saying it because of where she is, but that's what everyone is saying, and she's probably one of the few politicians who is saying what the people are saying. Everyone else is trying to be so politically correct and all this kind of gubbins, but she just comes out with it. She's a bit like Boris in that respect. Doesn't seem to have a filter. Some of the stuff she comes out with is absolute nonsense, like, living in a tent is life choice. But when it comes to like the illegal immigrants and all that kind of stuff, people seem to agree. And when she says that there should be the stop of the conflict in Gaza for the innocent people who are there, you've got to agree with that as well. Then other stuff she says, you're just like, you're a loon. Get out of my country. She has not been sacked yet, no. Cruella. She talks sense. Oh, adverts. Oh, adverts been and gone. So yeah, as I was saying, Cruella, she talks sense, but she also talks utter nonsense, saying that people homeless people living in tents are a blight on society. No, the blight on society is the fact that these people have to live in tents on the streets because we're not looking after them, but we're putting up illegal immigrants in 4-star hotels around the country. There's something very wrong there. So she's not perfect, but she does say more of the stuff than what people are actually thinking. And a lot of crap. But, you know, it's Cruella de Vil. So, I mean, sorry, Suella. Cat protection advert, God. Okay. Well, that's good. Don't forget to, well, I don't know. But yeah, she said this time that the Met have their favourites and they will allow certain protests to go ahead, but not other protests to go ahead. It's still to do with the protests that are organised for Saturday in London, the pro-Palestinian protests, whilst other services are going on at the Cenotaph, etc. Meanwhile, government failure is NHS waiting lists, not helped, to be fair, by the doctors' strikes, the consultant strikes and the previous nurses' strikes, and COVID and everything else, but they don't seem to be doing a lot. Easy solution: lots of these office blocks at the moment, because people are working from home, are really sound buildings but they're not being used at all. Stick a few beds in there, get some volunteer recently retired nurses and doctors in there, and then when people have had their emergency operations or whatever and they're convalescing, they can go to these Nightingale wards in these office blocks whilst they recover, which frees up the beds in the main hospital so more operations can take place and we can get rid of the queues. I thank you, government. You can have that one for free. The tent scenario really cheesed me off, says Angela. You're correct. It does get annoying when they come out with stuff like that, but you know, what does she know? She's never lived in a tent. I've never lived in a tent, but I still know to respect the people who live in tents. Amazingly, Israel agree a daily 4-hour pause on the conflict. Now, 4 hours isn't a lot, but it's enough for people to have a corridor of safety to move around and maybe get food if there is any, or move to somewhere slightly safer than where they are. But like I've said before, they seem to be being moved to where the Israelis want them and then being bombed because apparently there's one Hamas terrorist within 5 miles, so we'll just kill, you know, all these Palestinians because, well, you know, it's justified. I lived in a tent, don't recommend. Well, there you go then. There you go then. Elder for president. Yeah, we're not at that stage yet. I'd have to be a president. I could be a prime minister. But no, at least there's some movement from Israel. We'll have to wait and see if it happens and how it happens and what difference it makes. A lot of the people are objecting to ceasefires, etc., saying, but it gives Hamas a chance to what's the word I'm looking for? Not reorganise, but energise themselves and get themselves reorganised. Actually, it wasn't reorganised into fighting again against Israel. But the problem you've got is no matter how long this goes on for, Hamas will do that. And like I said last week, if Hamas is destroyed, it doesn't matter, because all the little, particularly boys, aged between 6 to maybe 12, who've gone through this slaughter of their families and their people, will form the next lot of terrorists to get their revenge on Israel. The whole thing is just a continuing cycle. And like I showed you last week when I was on about the West Bank, and I showed you a picture of an Israeli soldier dragging a woman by a foot with her daughter or someone else holding onto her hand, both of them screaming out. And I said that last week I saw a news report saying that people were being forcibly evicted from the West Bank, which is not part of Gaza, it's the other side of Israel. So if you've got Gaza here, Israel's up here, and not Israel, sorry, the West Bank's up here and Israel's in between. So they're getting people out. So I looked for a picture for it. I found a picture of this woman being dragged by a foot by an Israeli troop, but it was from 2008. Nothing has changed. Israel is not innocent in all this. I've been homeless and it's not nice. The eldest president, and that seems to be what they like in America. The elder president, oh, I get it. It was my birthday actually on Thursday. I don't know if I mentioned it or not. I did a birthday stream. I got a bit drunk, and everyone who wished me happy birthday, I fired off a popper, and I got quite a lot of this stuff. But they're rubbish, aren't they? Because they never get any better. You still get a load that just rolls up and comes out as a roll. It could have your eye out there. Anyway, thanks to everyone who joined in and wished me happy birthday. It was nice. We digress. Oh, I've got bits everywhere now. Jesus. So yeah, Friday. I got very confused. Oh no, hang on. I need to do another Thursday. Yeah, apologies. So this is technically Thursday. Okay, just bear with us. I got a bit confused with the days this week. It's very sad. But what can I do? Yeah, more incursions, ironically, into the West Bank. That was actually taken this week by the Israelis, who were mounting basically a two-pronged attack on the innocent Palestinians. Also, there is a toxic culture in UK McDonald's. Apparently, I can imagine there's a toxic country, a toxic culture in most employment places, particularly if you're easily offended these days and don't understand banter. Not that I'm saying that anything they did was banter. One person who's actually talking sense, who's the leader of a country, and I never thought I'd say this because he's French. Oh, I hate the French. It's a British thing. We all hate the French. The French hate us. Que de bleu, que bien, or whatever it is. President Macron says stop bombing babies to the Israelis, and picture there, you know, these two young children, too young to do anything about it now, suffering horrendously at the hands of Israel. They have every right, I would imagine, to want to get revenge on Israel, and things get on later because as they get older, because of what they're going through now. Now, if people can't see that this is what they're doing, they're actually making things worse for themselves, as in Israel, then I don't know what we can do. I'm not repeating that, Alan. Amphibians, as much as I love them and all that, you know. The marchers to the the marches even that are going on. You've got the cenotaph, which is the purple, and you can see the red line, which is the march from Hyde Park all the way to Nine Owls Lane, going past the US Embassy for some reason, no idea why. The Israeli Embassy way over the other side. So it all seems as if it's not going to affect anything, and hopefully everyone will enjoy the day. Meanwhile, Prince Harry, get ready for the Shut Up Harry. He's won the right to sue the Daily Mail along with 8 or 9 others for illegally phone tapping and hacking their various communications and then reporting the stories they've got illegally in the press. And if that is true, that seems reasonable enough. Which brings us to a day called Saturday, which, funnily enough, is today. And today there were over 300,000, the police say, 300,000 protesters marching through London, pro-Palestinian protesters, basically saying that they want the war in Gaza, the illegal war in Gaza, to end, and for it to be settled in different ways. Now, you can't really settle stuff with Hamas by talking over the table. They're just not that kind of organisation, so they need to be destroyed, yes. But like I said before, we don't need to kill innocent people. Go get them, Harry. Wow, Angela, you've changed your tune. Well done. It's normally Shut Up, Harry. 100 have been arrested in counter-protests, which is a good thing. And a bad thing in Gaza, hospitals, aid workers are saying are now running out of food, water, electricity and medicines. And some of them are being bombed. because, well, let's be honest, I don't know, it's Israel, isn't it? Meanwhile, at the cenotaph, peaceful 2 minute silence was held to honour the dead on the 11th hour of the 11th day from the 11th year of 1900s, when the armistice was signed for the end of World War One. The big one will be tomorrow, and that will be when the King and all the royal families and all the marches and everything go on, and there'll be another 2 minute silence. Now, I was at work when the 2 minute silence occurred, and it came over the tannoy. They took the music off, it came over the tannoy, which I heard in the mal. It basically said we are going to have a 2 minute silence to honour those who've fallen in the wars, etc. And then it went quiet, and I was in my shop alone because it was early, and yeah, I stood there quietly in contemplation, just hoping, because I didn't know, that everything was going okay at the cenotaph and in other communities around the country, that people could peacefully honour the dead. And I didn't realise how much it had been respected in the Grand Arcade until 2 minutes later the security guard said thank you very much, and then literally it's like someone flicked a switch and all the hustle and bustle came back again. It was amazing, and I'm like, wow, that was so respectfully done by the people of Wigan who were in the Grand Arcade. It was unbelievable, and like I say, I didn't notice it until they said thank you very much, and then everyone started walking around again and talking, and it was like someone flicked a switch. It was just unbelievable. But yeah, I was proud to be a resident of Wigan and someone in well, the Grand Arcade at that moment. So yeah, it was a lovely moment. So that brings us to, I might mention this again, but I'll mention it now, Booths. Now Booths is a posh supermarket. Think of Waitrose, and then a little bit lower. So also in between Sainsbury's and Waitrose is Booths. And they are getting rid of pretty much all their self-service tills. And they've said because of customer complaints. I reckon it's because people are robbing them blind. I mean, you think about it, how much does it cost to have someone on a till? About £10-11 an hour, something like that. 13, 14 if you work at Lidl. Whiz all the stuff through, they can get through loads of customers. If it's just carrier bags alone, I can imagine that one person on the till can sell enough carrier bags to pay for them being there rather than being stolen at the self checkouts. But it's not just carrier bags, obviously, it's meat and stuff like that, and people swapping things, swapping barcodes on things and putting different weight stuff around and all that idea. So yeah, it's good. And there was, as I said a couple of weeks ago as well, that was someone, I can't remember who it was now, it was some celebrity, said that she wanted to reintroduce slow aisles. So it was aisles that were really slow, where people could, checkouts that were really slow, where people could actually go, elderly people, and just have a chat as well as get the food. So rather than, like when you go to Lidl or Aldi, whatever, they're like beep, 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 and you're just frantically trying to get everything in the trolley because the area that they put the food in is about that big, and it's like really, really quick, really, really bish bash bosh bosh bish bash bosh. Well, they come up with this slow aisle, slow checkout, where basically I would imagine particularly the elderly, but there are also people who live on their own. I live on my own, but I obviously get a lot of people to talk to during the day, and I like my own company anyway. But people who live on their own, particularly elderly, or people who've got anxiety issues or stuff like that, don't go out very often, don't have many friends, and they're just sat in the house all day. They can go to the supermarket, they can buy the food, and then they can have a 5 or 10 minute chat with the person on the checkout about anything, probably the weather, all that kind of stuff. I can't remember what supermarket it was now, but it seemed a brilliant idea. And as long as it's clearly marked slow checkout or leisurely checkout or whatever, then no one can complain about it. You can still go to the self-checkouts, you can still go to the checkouts, but I think self-checkouts, I think it's an experiment that I've said. I've never agreed to them from day one, to be fair. We should get staff discounts, because technically We're going around, we're picking the stuff up off the shelves ourselves, we're carrying them around the shop ourselves. We are then scanning them ourselves, we're then paying ourselves. And then we go and carry the stuff to the car. Whereas in the older days, you go into a shop like Arkwright's in open all hours, and you'd say, "Oh, I'll have a tin of beans and a tin of this, tin of that, and tin of the other," and they put it on the counter, and then they put it in a bag for you, and off you go. But yeah, I think we should all be entitled to a staff discount if you use a self-checkout. Loads of shoplifting around at present, says Laney. Angela, I've never seen a shop move. Oh dear. They've got to be very strong to lift a shop though, haven't they? Well, hey. Sorry, I'm going down the same route now. I do apologise. Anyway, that is it for the week's news. We've still got America, we've still got Australia, mate. And we've still got the "and finally," and plenty of other discussions to come up as well. I shall have a swig of my drink. Whereas I asked the all important question, no gun crime. No, there is gun crime, I'm just not talking about it. What's going on in America? People getting shot in America. We're not covering that in America. Biden repeats same story word for word, just minutes apart, raising fresh concerns about his fitness for office. Who knew? Who knew that? Here we go. Why is that? Why is that doing that? Was that there? Oh, that's there, is it? Right, okay. I don't like that. Look! No, it's going the wrong way. That's a bit better, isn't it? I need to move myself as well. Oh, I'm having a moving experience. There you go. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. Let's get rid of that. There you go. Obama says both sides to blame for Israel-Hamas conflict. Nobody's hands are clean. Obama may have actually been in my shop today. At least that's what my weekend guy thought. Oh, God. Former President Barack Obama has urged Americans to take in the whole truth when weighing Israel's war against Hamas, saying everyone's complicit to some degree in the conflict. Nobody's hands are clean. The 44th president said during an interview with Pod Save America, a podcast hosted by former White House aides from his presidency, in an excerpt released at the weekend. What Hamas did is horrific. What Hamas did was horrific. Yeah, beyond horrific, beyond words. But what Israel is doing is, yeah, he's right. Wish he was president now, really do. New Yorkers back ugly 32-foot phone towers, and they outnumber the critics. New Yorkers overwhelmingly support erecting hulking 32-foot 5G cell phone antenna towers with their neighbourhoods to bolster Wi-Fi service, far outnumbering critics who say the structures are an eyesore. I mean, they are, and I wouldn't want it that close to my house. Not because it's an eyesore, just because, well, the quite strong microwaves coming out of that, and I wouldn't want it. I don't mind them on tops of buildings miles away from people, but yeah, not outside my house. Not heard that story before. Oh, well, there you go then, Luke. Every day's a school day. Israeli minister suspended for saying nuking Gaza was one of the possibilities of Hamas war. Yeah, because they're all very level-headed, aren't they, in the Israeli government? Jesus. Midtown Lower Manhattan foot traffic down 33%, one of the worst post-COVID rates in the US. So basically the recovery after COVID and all the lockdowns is not going well around the world, because a lot of people have realised they don't actually need to go out of the house to do work. They can use Zoom or other internet meeting platforms. Therefore, why go to the office every day when you can go once a week, twice a week, once a month, twice a month? It doesn't really matter anymore, which is why we've got all this office space that's going begging at the minute as well. But anyway, yeah, Montreal is on 67% of what it was, Denver is on 67%, Pittsburgh is on 66% of pre-pandemic footfall. And it is interesting. It is interesting. Trump. Zelensky invites Trump to Ukraine and says he needs US support for 1 more year. Give me one more year. Give me one more. Yeah, okay. IT, by the way, not high IT, high T. But yeah, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky extended an invitation to Donald Trump to come visit, while stressing his war-torn nation needs at least 1 more year of heavy US support. Trump has long crowed that he could end the war in 24 hours if he become president, but Zelensky gently suggested he would disabuse the former president of that notion. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see whether he goes or not. Meanwhile, is Putin dead or alive? Ukraine damages Putin's warship in Crimea with missile strike, Russia claims. Ukrainian missile strike hit a shipyard over the weekend in Crimea, dealing a blow at least one of the Russian President Vladimir Putin's warship. The Kremlin claimed this, that some 15 cruise missiles rained down at the Slavia shipyard in Kerch, which is fixated about 600 miles south of Kiev and is fixated in the eastern part of the Crimean Peninsula. They like the word fixated, not a word I've ever even heard of before, let alone used, although I'm now fixated by it. Yeah, so good. The Ukraine war is kind of taking a back seat at the minute, but it's still not. Napping coyote reluctantly leaves perfect sunbathing spot on San Francisco patio, and it's so cute. It's got a little paw folded in. It's cute, isn't it? So much for letting sleeping dogs lie. A San Francisco woke up this week, expecting to take in the city's views from their outdoor patio, but instead found a beautiful coyote enjoying a nap on their couch. The canine had made himself so comfortable on the elevator patio that it made zero attempts to flee when the homeowner approached. The homeowner was worried that its lethargic behaviour indicated it was injured or unwell, but after half an hour, the coyote just got up and walked away. Yeah, chilling, mate. What are you going to do? I'm a coyote. I could just rip you apart, I could be arsed. But you've given me this nice bed, so I'll stay here. Well, it's more like, because it don't have opposable thumbs. Undeniable evidence. Amazon driver caught urinating in Las Vegas yard he wasn't even delivering to. We've all done it. No, we haven't. He didn't get off scot-free. An Amazon driver was canned after he was caught urinating in the front yard of a Las Vegas woman's home. The unidentified man, wearing an Amazon vest, was caught on camera yanking down his pants after climbing out of the unmistakable blue van to drop off a package at Val Williams' neighbour's home, surveillance footage showed. So, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. And Laney's gone, are cute when we're talking about a man having a pee, pulling his pants down. I think Laney might be on a slight delay. Although I don't know. Seattle bus crashes into car and building, killing 1 person and injuring 12. A Seattle bus collided with a car and mounted the sidewalk, striking a pedestrian and slamming into a brick building in a chain reaction that left 1 dead and a dozen injured. The crash in Belltown at the intersection of 5th Avenue and Battery Street killed a female pedestrian and left the driver of a red sedan in critical condition. The sedan was heading southbound when it collided with a public bus travelling eastbound. Horrendous scenes, but buses are still one of the safest ways to get around. Scientists claim giant sea lizards with angry eyebrows roamed over North Dakota 80 million years ago. Now, how do they know that? For a start, no one was around 80 million years ago. It does my head in when scientists claim this. Okay, they might have found giant sea lizards, skeletons. Yep, okay, go with that. Fine. But angry eyebrows? I mean, these scientists are getting paid a lot of money for coming out with such actual nonsense. Oh, because someone's got an ad. I do apologise for these ads, but at the end of the day, they also keep this channel going. So let's just go with it, shall we? Mainly because I can't see when they're coming up. Yeah, I think Lainey is a little bit behind on the thing now because she's just lolled. Anyway, if the ad's finished, yes, how do scientists know what creature had angry eyebrows 80 million years ago? It's absolute BS. Hashtag just saying. Holy grail of shipwrecks to be exhumed off the Colombia coast with $20 billion of sunken treasure on board. Colombia is hoping to expedite its mission to recover a 3-century-old sunken treasure worth as much as $20 billion, as the ownership of the fortune lies in legal limbo amid ongoing court battles. President Gustavo Petro ordered his administration to exhume the Holy Grail of shipwrecks, the Spanish galleon San Jose, from the floor of the Caribbean Sea as soon as possible, and then they will put it in storage. A few bits might go missing because it's Colombia, and yeah, it could be interesting. Meanwhile, officials in North Carolina declare state of emergency as wildfires burn hundreds of acres. Now, America technically is in winter, yet they've got wildfires going on. This is insane weather that we're currently getting. Officials have declared a state of emergency in western North Carolina community where wildfires burn hundreds of acres, some structures, and is now threatening dozens of homes. Crews are fighting several separate blazes in forested areas of Virginia, Tennessee, and Kentucky. Wide swathes of those states face moderate to severe drought conditions and warmer winters. The pirates will be hovering around that recovery. I could imagine that it's probably already been recovered, to be fair. You know. Israel will take overall security responsibility of Gaza for indefinite period after war, says Netanyahu. Yes, Netanyahu, a war criminal. Anyone who bombs innocent civilians deliberately is a war criminal. I don't care who you are, I don't care what religion you are. And now the truth is coming out. He wants to take over overall security responsibility of Gaza. Basically what he means is he wants to incorporate it into Israel, and he wants to probably, where he's levelled all this land, build nice new houses for Israelis to move into and take over the area, which again will cause more problems in the long run, as the people in shrunken Gaza would obviously come up with new ways of fighting back over the next 10, 15, 20 years. I mean, my grandson is 5 years old, coming up for 6 in February, and I would imagine that if he lives to be 105, this would still be going on in one shape or form, because it's been going on since my great-grandparents were around. In fact, pretty much since Jesus has been around. It's not going to end overnight, and it's not going to end well. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is. And like I said before, I am a devout atheist. I have no interest in religion whatsoever, or what people believe in. That to me is irrelevant. You want to believe in what you want to believe in, that's absolutely fine. You go ahead and fill your boots. Religion, as I've said a billion times, is the biggest cause of wars in humanity, including the British, the Spanish, and other countries 200-300 years ago, going round killing non-Christians and converting people to Christianity. Yeah, a religion is an evil thing, and if we could ban religion totally, that would make the world a safer place. Mind you, we need to ban this guy as well. Well, both of them. God, just think. One sniper at the right angle. Biden urges Netanyahu to agree to 3-day fighting pause to help hostage releases. Now, obviously, this is going before what we were talking about when Israel has agreed to a 4-hour pause every day. This is Monday. President Biden urged Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to commit to a 3-day pause in fighting in Gaza to help secure the release of some of the hostages held by Hamas, according to a report. Now, Hamas are not going to release all the hostages, as I've said before, because if they do, look what's going on now. Imagine if they've got no hostages, that Israel might be a little bit worried, not I think they are, of killing in their bombardment. No hostages left, they will just blitz it at Gaza and just kill as many people as they can because the world is supporting them. Celeb supported New York City church faces demolition after congregation dwindles down to 12 people. In the latest New York showdown, the fate of a once venerable Upper West Side church hangs in the balance. West Park Presbyterian Church, a 19th century architectural gem on West 86th Street, stands at the centre of a heated dispute between preservationists and developers. With the congregation dwindling to a mere dozen faithful, the church is now in dire straits. So yeah, it's replaced Mark Knopfler. Yeah, I mean, like I said before, I'm a devout atheist, but I love churches. I think they're amazing. Again, you watch my walk around various towns, cities, villages, holiday resorts. Churches always seem to feature, and I'm always really nice about the churches in my own sarcastic way. But the anywhere in New York City that's not being used is worth billions and billions and billions of dollars. That lot that is stood on is going to be worth billions of dollars. But they've done this before where they've actually sold the lands but then had a building built above the building that's there now. There's a little church, much smaller than this one, that has got a building above it, and it's kind of in the corner. And that building, the big building, they paid to keep the church in a decent standard of what's the word? The quality of the building. Yeah. So I can imagine that would work here as well. So rather than knock it down, why don't the people who own the church give rights for the area above the church to be used for apartments or whatever, and then the money that they get, they can then save the church, and who knows, the people in the apartment might end up going to the church. Could even possibly open a cafe or something in the foyer of the church for the people who live, the residents who live above. It just seems an opportunity rather than demolishing something. We've got the technology to do this now, let's be honest. It doesn't matter how tall that building is, we can still build buildings taller. And it'll also protect the building from elements as well, such as rain and probably frost and snow and things like that, which would then keep the integrity of the building for longer. But anyway, what do I know? I'm not an engineer. Or am I? No, obviously not. Meanwhile, Ukraine admits blowing up Putin ally in car bomb and calls it a warning for traitors and war criminals. Ukraine admitted blowing up a Russian-backed politician in a car bomb on Wednesday, calling it retribution for war criminal and executioner. Mikhail Flipokenio, a deputy in the pro-Moscow Lugansk regional parliament and former police chief, was killed in the early morning explosion, having survived a previous blast in February 2022, just days before Russia invaded Ukraine. Again, legitimate target. If they are undermining your country and done war crimes, etc., then yeah, fine. Right turn on red with pedestrian deaths rising. US cities are considering bans. Now, if you're a driver, you will know that when a red light is on, you are not allowed to go forward unless you have a filter lane, which is a little green light that comes on, usually with an arrow pointing in a direction, left, right, or whatever, and that allows traffic to go around a corner that it might not be able to go around, or to go around a corner because no other vehicles that are using that junction at the time are able to enter the same corner, so they put a filter on. More often than not, it's for right turns into busy areas, so that the cars don't back up, so all the lights are on red for everyone, but then you put a little filter light on so that people know that it's safe to turn right. Now in America they drive on the wrong side of the road, which is the right side. So for them, what would be a left turn for us, so a left turn, I don't know which way you see me, but that to me is a left turn. So you go around the curb like so. In America it's a right turn, so you go around the curb like so, And you can do that under red lights. But apparently pedestrians are that stupid. They don't realise Americans can do that, even though it's America. So pedestrians are being knocked over. So now saying that they might stop that, which is only going to create more gridlock, particularly in cities like New York and Los Angeles and San Francisco, etc. But if people are stupid enough to get run over, then maybe they need to do that. Meanwhile, Harry and Meghan branded eco-hypocrites after taking Oil Air's private jet to a Katy Perry concert. Do as I say, not as I do. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are being branded eco-hypocrites after reportedly flying to Katy Perry's Las Vegas concert on a private jet. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex, who've both been ardent supporters of actioning on climate change, boarded a Gulfstream jet owned by Oil Air Michael Hurd for their trip to Sin City last week. I mean, yeah, it just screams hypocrisy, doesn't it? And definitely do as I say, not as I do. But it's Harry and Meghan, so, you know, shut up, Harry. I reckon you lot are so far behind me now, it's unbelievable. But anyway, when I say now, put a thumbs up or do something, and then I know how much of a delay we're on. Now. Right, okay then. A New York City woman claims her fear of wild turkeys led her to fall in an injury lawsuit against a local hospital. Meghan is a high pole bitch. Very good. I like the way you censors yourself then. Right, Luke said now, so that gives you an idea for you how far behind you are. Alan Barton's done a clap, so that's how far behind he is. So yeah, these adverts then. No delay, Angela says. So, and she's had adverts as well. But yeah, I think I still broadcast, but yeah, there's a bit of delay here, there and everywhere. Anyway, a New York City woman claims her fear of wild turkeys led her to fall in an injury lawsuit against a local hospital. A Staten Island woman claims she fell and permanently injured herself outside a local hospital due in part to her fear of wild turkeys roaming the facility's campus. Faculty, if you're American. Carmen Pagan, good name, Pagan, like it, is suing Staten Island University Hospital and its owner, Northwell Health, after she said she tripped and hurt herself as she tried to avoid the large birds and stumbled on an uneven curb. Yeah, they sue for anything, don't they, in America? I'm suing because you've got turkeys. Yeah, we won't have in 2 months' time, love. Actually, they have their turkeys next week, don't they, or the week after? Striking actors reach tentative agreement with Hollywood studio to end the strike. The SAG-AFTRA Actors Union reached a tentative agreement with Hollywood studios to resolve the second of two strikes that rocked the entertainment industry as workers demanded higher pay on their streaming TV era. The union said on Wednesday the 118-day strike will end officially just after midnight. SAG-AFTRA said in a statement the group's national board will consider the deal on Friday. It does make sense though, particularly with the AI as well. So you're, like I said before, when this strike started, you could, as a nobody, you could go into a studio, be filmed for an hour, doing various poses and things like that. They film you from all different angles. They can then recreate you in AI, and you could be the buddy to the big star of the movie and only get paid for an hour's work, which is wrong. And then also you've also got the live streaming services, or the streaming services even, like Netflix and all that, and TV channels and everything that basically shows that have been on for ages, and you don't get repeat rights for it, which again I think is wrong. I'm not saying they should get the same money they got when they filmed the thing originally, but you should get some acknowledgement financially of your contribution to a program that's been repeated and the company's making money on. New York's announces retail task force to fight shoplifting. The city is starting a new task force to tackle an epidemic of shoplifting which has soared by 64% since 2019. Mayor Eric Adams said the new team is led by Deputy Mayor for Public Safety, Philip Banks, and includes all 5 of the city's district attorneys as well as Attorney General Leetta James. According to a press release, City Hall was represented by the New York City New York Police Department, the Office of Public Safety, the Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice, and the city's Department of Small Businesses. Which makes sense because obviously this thing that's going on at the minute is absolutely ridiculous. It's worldwide. Everyone says, oh, it's Brexit and all that kind of stuff. Well, why are people shoplifting in New York? It's a worldwide issue because everyone's skint, because everything's going up exponentially. So more people are shoplifting. And yeah, it's got to be stopped because businesses will go out of business and then you'll have nowhere to even shoplift, never mind shop. Worker crushed to death by a robot that mistook him for a box of vegetables. A South Korean worker was crushed to death in an industrial robot that mistook him for a box of vegetables. The unidentified worker in Guzong succumbed to head and chest injuries after he was snatched up by the robot and shoved onto a conveyor belt. He reportedly worked at the company that installs the robot and was sent to the vegetable plant to service the machine. Very sad story. The man suffers from arthritis. Okay. A US-bound flight takes off with 2 missing windows and reaches 1,500 feet before the crew notice. A plane previously used by Britain's King Charles and Prime Minister Rishi Sunak was forced to turn around after reaching an altitude of 4,500 feet when crew members realised 2 of its windows were missing. The Airbus A321 took off from London Stansted Airport for Orlando in October with windows that were damaged by high-powered lights during a film shoot. Hey. Previous story. Okay, Angela, lay off. Russia targets Kyiv for the first missile attack on capital in 52 days. Russia launched a ballistic missile attack against Ukraine's capital today, the first air attack aimed at Kyiv in 52. Kyiv's mayor Vital Klitschko said in a message posted on Telegram that strong explosions were heard in the early hours of Saturday morning. So yeah, 52 days. It looks like they've had another delivery then from either Iraq or Iran or North Korea or China or America. Disorientated Biden needs help from Arlington Honor Guard during solemn wreath-laying ceremony. President Biden needed stage directions from military member during the solemn wreath-laying ceremony at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier during Veterans Day observations in Arlington National Cemetery again today. Obviously, it's Armistice Day over here, and they call it the Veterans Day observations. But either way, absolutely shocking. Terrifying flight, absolutely. Infested Big Apple. New York City sees revolting surge in bedbug complaints. Gotham's bugging out. Complaints about bed bugs across New York City have surged a revolting 17% so far this year, with 2,677 cases of the bloodsuckers reported between January the 1st and October 31st, compared to only 2,276 in the same period last year. Yeah, I think this bedbug thing, I think it's just scaremongering. I'm sure we've had bed bugs. We've all had bed bugs. I don't understand quite what's going on. But anyway, Iceland braces for possible volcanic eruption after 1,400 earthquakes in 24 hours. And notice on that picture up there how low that helicopter is. That one. Near to a volcano. It's Iceland. They just don't give a shit. Brilliant. And that ends... Oh no, we've got some breaking news. Hang on a minute. Biden repeats same story, word for word, just minutes apart, raising fresh concerns about age and fitness for office. Well, yeah, we've known that for ages, haven't we? That Biden is not fit for office. But that is the end of American news, which brings us to Australia, mate. Good eye sport. Australia, my second most popular country of viewers. still haven't figured out how to say that, but we'll work on that. So thank you, Australia, for following and watching. I assume this is the bit you watch, to be fair. Probably not for long, but anyway. There's not a lot of Australian news today. Man dies after being shot in the head. Tragic story, but I mean, no poo Sherlock. Apparently it's a shock. A man has died in hospital after suffering a gunshot wound to his head at a property in Perth North East Side. A 35-year-old man has been charged with murder, with police now investigating whether other people were involved in the heinous crime. But yeah. Although Sheila's watching, RBA lifts cash rate to 4.35%. To be fair, our interest rates, which is the same thing, has remained the same. I think I mentioned it last week. But this is their first interest rate hike since June. The Reserve Bank has lifted the cash rate to 4.35%, the first hike since June. It's the highest that the interest rates have been since November 2011. What was going on in November 2011 though? That's what I'm wondering. US juice and smoothie giant opening stores in Australia. Jamba is heading down under. Never heard of Jamba, but if you live in America or if you are visited America and you've heard of Jamba, then please feel free to comment either in the comment section or in the chat if it's live. Popular US chain Jamba is heading to Australia for the first time with a store set to open this month. Doesn't say where it is. Previously known as Jamba Juice, the brand has nearly 800 locations worldwide. It's a bit like Dunkin' Donuts. It's just called Dunkin' now. They've dropped the donuts because I think they sell more coffee than donuts. And you can't get a decent jam donut from Dunkin' Donuts. My daughter works at Dunkin' Donuts and I'm like, why don't they do jam donuts anymore? So I don't go anywhere. This is a brilliant story. Kmart pulls controversial item off shelves after complaint from an Australian Jewish group. Can you see why? We clearly didn't think through all the implications and the product has been removed from sale, said Kmart. It was a Christmas themed bag after an awkward detail with its printer slogan was pointed out online. Have you got it? Do you know what it is yet? Oh no, too soon. In fact, never be right to say that ever again. Merry Hamas. What were they thinking? Kmart. Back of the class. Rise in sexually transmitted infections. Young Aussies are urged to be vigilant. Well, if they're using bananas, I think they'll be perfectly safe. Unless they eat the banana afterwards, in which case maybe not. Doctors are warning Australians to take precautions amid concerning rise in the number of sexually transmitted infections, especially in young people. Well, that's because more young people are likely to have rumpy-pumpy with people they don't know very well, and possibly very many people, although I never did. I was very late developer in that score. Very, very, very late. I was almost a 40-year-old virgin, but there you go. Should there be a 4-day school week? Australia is asking. Queensland government is paving the way for a radical school timetable shake-up, with public primary and secondary schools reportedly given the green light to introduce a 4-day week and shorter half days. Now that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my entire life, particularly for working families. Unless they're going to pay for childcare for an extra day, I don't really see the point of this, because mum and dad or the guardians are going to have to go to work no matter what. So yeah, it's just a stupid idea. Plus, their education is going to suffer, isn't it? Because they're there for 1 day less. It should be 5-day, 9 till 4. Yes, Angela. Record driest 3 months for Australia, according to the BOM's November statement. Australia has just had its driest 3 months on record, and it's not going to let up soon. More so because you bear in mind that this is their autumn that they've had their spring, that they've had their 3 months drought on, and it's going into summer for Australia, so it's very unlikely they're going to get a lot more rain. And you can see from the red markings there, obviously the centre of Australia is dry, but the bit near the red line, that is particularly dry, and that is a very heavily populated part of Australia. So the Bureau of Meteorology issued a November drought statement yesterday showing just how parched the country is, with some areas experiencing record low levels of rainfall. So yeah, that could be one to watch as the summer kicks into gear in Australia, mate. And that is it for Australia. We're now going on to the and finally bit, which is a bit where I look at stuff that makes me go, oh, or it makes me go, or it makes me go, or it makes me go, ugh. So yeah, this is the lighter part of the news, because let's be honest, the news at the moment is so depressing, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, Barry. Is there a huge amount of these? Oh, there is quite a lot of these actually this week. I didn't think there was many. Apparently there is. Now this was a weird story of a sheep which had somehow got onto a bit of grass at the bottom of some cliffs. At least that's how it was given to us. And you couldn't get to it by boat because of the rocks and everything, and they couldn't get to it down the hill because of the alleged. Hang on, is that? If you can, oh yeah, you can see it all. I was going to say, why can't you see it all? But you can. So yeah, these 5 farmers decided to rescue it after 2 years. So these are not professional rescuers. These are not professional sheep rustlers who rescue sheep from bottom of cliffs. And then it shows the cliff, and it's not a cliff, it's a steep hill. And I'm pretty sure that sheep, if it could be asked, could have probably got up there because it's a sheep. Maybe not now because it hasn't been sheared for a while and it would weigh a ton, particularly if it was raining. Anyway, this poor sheep that was having a really nice quiet time has been dragged up this hill and is now a world celebrity. And they've called it, of all things, Fiona. Named after Shrek's wife. It's the only Fiona I can think of. Oh, so apart from Fiona Bruce off of the BBC. Wooly, Britain's loneliest sheep, has spent at least 2 years stranded on his own with a massive overgrown fleece, but has finally now been rescued in dramatic fashion. Note they're calling him he, but the name is Fiona. Nightmare super rats as big as cats invade homes and they're hell-bent on escaping the floods. Experts say floods will lead to giant super rats invading your home in search for shelter, and they will take no prisoners to get what they want. So yeah, we're going to have rats who are bigger than cats, who are just going to chop your head off. I'm married to a man who loves Frozen. I have posters up and watch it twice a day. Frozen superfan Paul Deakin is obsessed with the Disney film and watches it twice a day. His home is decorated with posters of his favourite characters and says it's magical. I think someone needs to go and see someone about something. Anyway, Putin, dead or alive. Secret Service for dead Putin to be held tomorrow, despite 3 Kremlin denials. A 3rd Kremlin denial has been issued after Kremlin insider claims that Russian President Vladimir Putin died of a heart attack, but the sources said a memorial is set to take place tomorrow from obviously the day that was printed. Putin wanted to be cryogenically frozen and have brain digitised after death. The Kremlin source, which claimed Russian President Vladimir Putin has died nearly 2 weeks ago, has now shed some light on what Putin wanted to happen to him after his death. Now look at that picture of Putin, and then look at this recent picture of Putin. It's not. A family of man who looks like Putin, scared for his safety, but he won't change. Well, you can't really change what you look like. And I'll be honest with you, Putin generally looks like a fairly healthy looking, even though he's been ill, old man. And, you know, I might look like that if I live another 10, 20 years, whatever. Having a loved one who earns a living impersonating a murderous dictator with a taste for knocking off people he doesn't like with deadly Novichok, or pushing them out of hotels, is a bit stressful if you have a loved one. So he actually takes advantage of it, to be fair. Okay, fair enough. Location of Putin's body unknown more than a week after Vlad's alleged death. Russian President Vladimir Putin was said to have died from a heart attack, but no update has been given on where his corpse is currently or what status it is. Yeah, is he dead? Is he alive? Or is it a body double now? Or is it a body double that's died? I mean, that'd be confusing, wouldn't it? Notorious UK bonfire night sees Putin burned with Boris Johnson and Donald Trump. The UK's biggest and best bonfire night is set to return, but a combination of terrible weather and the weight of its own success is set to impact visitors' access this year. So yeah, basically they don't do Guy Fawkes anymore now, they just do politicians. Some could say maybe they should do the real ones, but I wouldn't possibly go down that route. Ice pop, yes it could be. Dad's joke. My wife asked me today if I'd seen the dog bowl. I said I didn't know he could. At the AI summit, Rishi Sunak meets Elon Musk to discuss the future of employment. Mainly, will Musk be able to give him a job in about 12 months' time? And that's from Have I Got News For You, BBC's very funny TV show that looks at the news and slags it off. I don't know where they got the idea from. To be fair, it's been going a lot longer than I have. Not me personally, I mean this show. Bonfire night hell as police battle yobs throwing petrol bombs and fireworks. As long as I can remember, people have thrown fireworks and things at police and fire engines and everything. That's awful. Humans have already found aliens and they're not little green men, claims an expert. Humans could have reached the peak of Darwinian evolution and now artificial intelligence could overtake us as the dominant species, Lord Martin Rees has claimed. So yeah, I don't know where the aliens come into that, but there you go. Fan of Doctor Who? Well, that's nothing to do with Doctor Who. Weather forecasts predict Arctic blast to hit the UK just weeks after Storm Kieran. Brits could be in for a white Christmas after a band of low pressure from the north made snow in some parts of the UK. One forecaster has said, with Brits to see one or two particularly cold snaps before Christmas. I must admit, it is a bit nipping now. I would name and shame these clowns. I think we did. Oh, the experts, maybe. I don't know. Meghan and Harry, it's a wee picture of Harry. Meghan and Harry to launch Fight Back as Empire is crumbling, claims an expert. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are looking at ways to relaunch their formerly powerful empire, with the latter returning to acting being a possible option. So Meghan Markle might have to go back to work. Ah, diddums. Kremlin monitoring Russians posting emojis over Putin's death, claims. Russia would normally have managed to keep the news about President Vladimir Putin's apparent death away from the public eye, but it has gotten through comments and readers will be punished. So if you live in Russia and you say that Putin is dead, they will come and knock on your door. Shut up, Harry. Oh, for throwing fireworks. Yes, absolutely. Putin's body double now ill with a fever as Kremlin panics over death rumours. I mean, it's bad enough when one of your Putins dies, but when another one's on death's door as well, I mean, it's just clumsy, isn't it? Russian President Vladimir Putin's body double, I dare say they've got another treble and a quadruple and a quadruple, has been apparently leading Russia after Vlad's death and is now suffering from health issues of his own. I tell you what, you wait for a Putin to die and two die at once. What Kremlin source claimed happened to Vladimir Putin after death claims. What? News about Russian President Vladimir Putin's has largely been dominated by bizarre health claims over the last 2 years, but the Kremlin has always remained silent until now. And you're like, oh. But then, yeah, it just says he's still alive. It's fine. Drivers could be fined £5,000 for splashing pedestrians due to little known rule. Well, I've known about this rule for ages. It used to be fun splashing pedestrians, but now you can get done for it. Drivers should take care on the roads during wet weather as the UK is set to get even more wetter in the coming weeks. Motoring experts have shared their top tips to stay safe. Don't drive in big puddles when there's pedestrians by. Without doubt, she is a leech. Absolutely agree with Angela and Alan on Meghan Markle. Well, as I've said before, she is the Yoko Ono of the royal family. And I think that is a valid point. Or a Vladimir point, even. Anyway, the good news is... Holidays are coming. Holidays are coming. Holidays are coming. Always Coca-Cola. Holidays are coming. Holidays are coming. Yes, Coca-Cola confirms holidays are coming for 2023 with UK Christmas Truck Tour. In the distance, the bells of Christmas have already begun to ring as news breaks that the Coca-Cola Christmas Truck is set to return for its famous tour for another year, and I for one can't be bothered about it. So let's have a look at a Banksy picture instead. Oh yeah, that looks like someone boarding up a child's house. Yeah. Now, I don't know whether I mentioned this or not, but I don't like electric cars. I think they're bad for the planet. I think they're worse than petrol cars, to be fair, and we should be coming up with hydrogen power, which would be better than anything. Numerous reasons why, which I'm not going to go in, even though I'm going to get baited by Alan and possibly Smiley Mac and possibly someone else to actually discuss these atrocities of humanity. But I'm not going to fall for it. I'm just going to let the pictures do the talking. An electric bus on fire in Bradford. Broadway. In Southall, not in Bradford. So this is an electric bus which is on fire. Now don't get me wrong, diesel buses catch fire as well. But there's a lot of electric vehicles catching fire, and people saying why there's so many more electric vehicles catching fire, because idiots are buying them. That's why. And once they catch fire, you cannot put the fire out with normal stuff, i.e. water, because it reacts with the chemicals in the batteries. So you get more of an explosion. It's a bit like if you chuck a jug of water on a chip pan fire. It's not going to end well. But look at all these chemicals coming out of it. Look at all this smoke, which is full of very toxic chemicals. And this is going into the atmosphere. And people are breathing it in the immediate area. And possibly miles downwind as well. Plus, you've got to get... Cars are a sore point for me right now. There you go, Alan. They are the way forward. There, thank you. Parking on the pavement is now £100 fine soon, says Angela. Yeah, good point. Yeah, and Tesla went on fire yesterday, 48 hours to finally put the fire out. Yes, exactly. That's the problem. Because these cars are battery... Hello? Are we still going? There we go. Yeah, I don't care about the oil and petrol releasing fumes, because we should be using hydrogen. And I've said before, all these steel plants that are shutting down, those sites are contaminated with centuries of industrial work. So what they need to do is give them to BMW, Toyota and Rolls-Royce to develop at their own cost, but free land and no taxes or anything, and they have to employ local people to come up with ways of making green hydrogen. Just let them get on with it. It's just better. I have a courtesy car right now, thanks not to BP. Okay. I'll turn into Boris Johnson now. Jimmy News. But yeah, these fires can go on for days, and as we've known recently, there's been quite a lot of electric fires going on. Electric fires on non-electric cars that have burnt entire car parks to the ground. Imagine if they're all electric cars, which they will be one day if people have their own way, which is wrong. Oh, contaminated fuel. Okay, fair enough. I'll let you off. UK's lonely sheep forced into secret hiding spot as she flees exploitation. I don't think she's fleeing anything. I think the people who've rescued her want to exploit her, and by doing that, they can exploit her. Like if you watch ITV News, they practically followed her around with a camera up her arse. Fiona the sheep has been rescued after spending more than 2 years in isolation. She's now a she, has been shaved of a very woolly coat. Maybe it was a he, and they got a little bit carried away with the shearers, couldn't see what they were doing, so now Fiona's a she. And she's now in hiding thanks to animal rights rows. Crocodile sex frenzy triggered by Chinook helicopters that sound like mating. The crocodiles have been triggered in a mating frenzy after being tricked by the sound and vibrations of the Chinook helicopter overhead, according to an expert. So basically, yeah, if you fly a Chinook helicopter over a crocodile, it will think someone somewhere is having sex, because that's what crocodiles sound like, a Chinook helicopter. Jesus. And they want to have it as well. Brilliant. Meanwhile, Mum furious as restaurant charges £40 for being unable to parent for loud children. A group of families enjoying a meal out were left shocked when they were charged a $50 surcharge, which is £40, for adults unable to parent, and were told to go to Burger King next time. And you know what? I'm with them for that. I think that's a good idea. I think people who take kids and just let them run around somewhere where it's meant to be peaceful and nice. I mean, if it was a nice restaurant, something like that, someone might have gone there on the first date. They might be celebrating the wedding anniversary. It might be a wake. Something else, and you've got kids screaming and running around all. No, definitely fine them. Yeah, definitely charge them for it. I'll be more careful next time I take my Chinook for a spin. Thank you, Luke. I think you should be very careful. £500 is costing BP, and there were 6 other cars with the same thing. They have to replace everything. Yeah, if you've got water in your petrol or something similar, contaminated petrol, then it's definitely going to be. Oh, Alan. Oh, that wouldn't happen with an electric car. Don't get me started on electric cars, Alan. Putin's body double has a deadly fever, but he still cuddled kids on a public appearance. That's nice. Russian President Vladimir Putin has a body double, and after the Kremlin leader apparently died, the double has been in charge, except now he's tested positive for COVID. Yay! Because he's hugging children. I mean, can you imagine anything worse than having a Putin lookalike, or Putin being, yeah. Putin's inner circle complain about lack of live music at Vlad's memorial. The inner circle of Russian President Vladimir Putin held a memorial service for the bloke who, as it has been claimed, died 2 weeks ago. And all they did was complain. Yeah, why couldn't he die 2 years ago before we invaded Ukraine? We got possessed in a graveyard. Now a demonic ghost threatens to kill us, says some paranormal investigators who want free publicity. Looking at the picture, they look like they're already the Walking Dead anyway, so I don't think they need to be paranormal. We've already done that one because it's the bus crash, so we'll move on. Oh, there you go. That's one we've had before, so we'll move on from that one. It's the giant thingamabob. Now here's a shock. You might be shocked about this, but there's a lot of these that appear on news feeds and things like that, little adverts, little clickbait. You won't believe what Macaulay Culkin looks like now, 30 years after being in Home Alone. Unrecognisable child star, 40 years later. I mean, for God's sake. And even Big Brother's doing it. Big Brother 6 Craig Coates now unrecognisable. A transformation and a career change. When he went into Big Brother, he was 17 years old. That was many years ago. It was actually 13 years ago. It was in 2005. And I vaguely remember it because I was in a relationship then, and we ended up watching it because I had no choice. And I thought he was all right. I vaguely remember him being okay. I don't remember much about him, but obviously he's fucking changed. That was 15 years ago. If you haven't changed in 15 years, then you've got the secret elixir of life. or something similar. But anyway, yeah, I'm not even. It doesn't even show a picture of him now, so you can't even compare what he looks like. Now, I don't know whether I ever mentioned or not that around the world electric vehicles are catching fire, and people are saying, why is there more electric vehicles catching fire now than what there was previously? Well, I'll tell you why. Because there's more electric vehicles, because people have been brainwashed into it. This is a video clip of an electric car on fire in a supermarket car park in a country that I don't know what it is. But not to worry, because Met Office verdict on chance of White Christmas as Brits brace for wintry blasts. The Met Office has had its say on claims that 2 wintry blasts could hit the UK within coming weeks. And the potential for frosty weather is a serious possibility for many. I mean, I must admit, my car for the first time this winter said risk of black ice when I got into it. And that was when I got into it after work today. Boffins discover largest ancient burial site, and it wasn't built by humans. Boffins have found a sign of non-human life in an ancient burial site believed to be the largest in the world in the heart of a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the cradle of humankind. So basically, where humankind came from, all these creatures have been buried in mass graves. So obviously, it's Neanderthal man, isn't it? Or are we Neanderthal man? Either way, one killed the other one, and we're the one that descendants from the one that killed the other one. But it doesn't mean the other one didn't go through burials and things like that. I don't think you have mentioned this before, says Alan. Thank you, Alan. A Banksy. Just think it's a really clever picture. Banksy is a genius. Where are we up to? How's about this? Now, I'm an arachnophobe, caused by Doctor Who, methinks. John Pertwee's last episode, where he was killed off by a giant spider with a squeaky eyes who went, "Don't die, you will die, and I will kill you." It's basically a toy spider in a shoebox with sticks attached to its legs from underneath the shoebox that someone underneath was making them go up and down, and it was blowing them down, it was screaming at him, and then the superimposed Doctor Who on it terrified me. But not as much as this. What would you do if you woke up to this? They're in a tent, and they are spiders completely covering the entire outside of the tent. A camper in Alaska found hundreds of daddy long legs crawling along the outskirts of their tent, shining a flashlight on the roof to reveal the horrific cluster of critters. Can you imagine anything worse than waking up to that? That would be my biggest nightmare. Nightmare? This will appear on the vlog, but I thought it'd be interesting to show now as well. Another milestone reached on the channel. Nothing major, just these things amuse me no end. 3,456 total subscribers, which is basically 3, 4, 5, 6. I know, childish, but still funny. I love it. So thank you one and all for subscribing to the channel. Getting more likes than I've ever had before. I'm getting more views than I've ever had before. It's just fantastic, and it's all thanks to you guys. I've had 81 new subscribers this month, 49,000 views, and 119 119,000 minutes watched. What's that in hours? I don't know. But 120,000 minutes of my channel being watched in a month, which is phenomenal. What I like about you guys is you don't watch it for a second and turn it off like most people. You generally watch about half of it. So yeah, it's pretty damn good, isn't it? It's pretty damn good. Lady's still on a delay because she's gone like that when I'm showing how well the channel's doing. Now, many of you know, because one of the things you watch and gets, to be fair, lots of hours of views, is my driving videos where I go to Staley, Vegas. And one reason why it's called Staley, Vegas is because for a period of time it had nightclubs and pubs. Literally, the town centre was just like Las Vegas, but without the lights or anything else. This is on the Star newspaper thing. 2,080 hours, Alan. Thank you. 2,080 hours in a month. That's ridiculous. But no, I appreciate it, and you all contribute to that. So thank you very, very much indeed. Oh, Lainey's caught up with us now. Thank you, Lainey. But anyway, this bar here has been described on National Star newspaper WTF page as a wild 80s bar where bloke was KO'd on dance floor and punter had ear bitten off. A bar which played host to a string of violent incidents, including one where a man had part of his ear bitten off and another which saw a bloke knocked out, has managed to hold on to its licence just. Problem is, as far as I'm aware, this was decades ago because that is Staley Bridge. That is right near the bus station, and as far as I'm aware, that doesn't exist anymore. I will have to have a look next time I go. I will drive past and see if it's still there. But yeah, it's one of the most violent bars in the country apparently, and it's in Staley Bridge. Who knew? Oh, thank you for all the hearts and flowers and roses and things. It's greatly appreciated. But yeah, in fact, when I saw it, I went. Basically, obviously the cat's not doing that. That is the markings on the cat's face that makes it look like it's doing that. Thank you, Angela, for the congratulations. If you're a gamer, Rockstar Games put an announcement out this week saying that next month, i.e. December, marks the 21st anniversary of Rockstar Games. Thanks to the incredible support of our players worldwide, we have the opportunity to create games we are truly passionate about, because they make money. Without you spending money, none of this would be possible, and we are so grateful to all of you for sharing this journey with us, and spending any money. In 1998, Rockstar Games was founded on the idea that video games could come to be as essential to culture as any form of entertainment, and we hope that we have created games you love in our efforts to be part of that evolution. And in the meantime, we've made money. We are very excited to let you know in early December we will release the first trailer for the next Grand Theft Auto. We look forward to many more years of sharing these experiences with all of you, and that melted the internet. The next Grand Theft Auto, because they've been going for 25 years, 25th anniversary, but Grand Theft Auto 5 has been around for 10 years. It's ridiculous how they've screwed it over for so long and got away with it, but there you go. Will you be doing any building streams, like car models, etc.? I've got a couple of things tied up that I'm going to do, but at the moment I'm just working 7 days a week, so I've really got time to do a lot else at the minute, Angela. Bigfoot in Wales, as expert discovers 16-inch prints and hidden woodland lair. Bigfoot researchers reckon they might have stumbled upon proof that the beast is living in Wales after discovering some monster footprints and a primitive stick structure close to Caerphilly. Yeah, or maybe it's just kids with the granddad building a shelter, and the granddad is a very tall person. Hey Tia, called into HMV but no joy. We'll be buying the new PS5 in 2028. I'm still waiting for the PS4 to be pushed, PS5 to be pushed to its limit. So I don't know. I don't know where we'll be in 2028. We might all be fleeing nuclear fallout or something by then. It's a long way off. People are only just realising their nose moves up and down when they are talking. I mean, how stupid are people not to notice when they watch other people talk that people's noses move, as do their cheeks, as do their jaws, as do the side of their heads, and sometimes when you're shouting your ears move as well. Some people, so stupid. PS6, yeah, but the PS5 hasn't been fully realised yet, that's what I'm saying. So we're going to end it on 3 things that make me go, very good. The inventor of autocorrect died. The funnel will be held tomato. That's very, very clever and very well done. And I thought, because you see the red car, I thought that was a really old picture. But if you look in the distance, you see a fairly modern car, so that's obviously quite recent. So the inventor of the autocorrect died, and the funnel will be held tomato. Genius. Absolute genius. And then we've got another Banksy, which again is genius. That's like Wigan Council, isn't it? Protecting our heritage. And finally, well, we've got this, which kind of sums up many people's thoughts on what is going on with, well, let's be honest, retail at the moment. Father Christmas cutting across the lanes from December all the way to October, because yes, that's what's going on. And that was a thing done in 1919. That was done, and it's worse now than it was. So it's knocking the chicken out of the way, which for us would be Guy Fawkes from November, and is now crossing the lanes into October, which we've been talking about for a while. So yeah, it's quite funny. And one thing that really annoys me is Black Friday. And I know I've said this many times before, but Black Friday is an American tradition which they have of their first Friday after Thanksgiving. And the thing with Thanksgiving is a tradition that they have in America, where they thank God, etc., for another year and a harvest and all that kind of stuff. It goes back all the way, a bit like their harvest festival. But they give gifts, so kids get, you know, presents, and you know, you buy your partner a present and all that kind of thing. So their big gifting period is November, back end of November. So they have Black Friday, which is an Amazon thing. Over here now in the UK, we have Black Friday on the same day, but our gifting isn't until December. So why don't we have it as the first Friday after Christmas Day, and have that as our Black Friday, so all the shops can get rid of the stock that they haven't sold over Christmas, rather than just having boring sales. But no, the shops can commit financial suicide by selling stuff that they could sell at full price because people want it for Christmas at discounted prices. But hell, we don't just do it for one day, we do it for a weekend, we do it for a week, we do it for a fortnight, we do it for a month. I mean, it's ridiculous. I personally don't do sales of any kind. I don't have any sales in my shop. My deals are the best deals I can give, 365 days a year. Hope Santa brings you another 10,000 subscribers. I haven't got 10,000 subscribers yet, so if he did, I'd be well impressed. Well impressed. But it's still too expensive. Well, yeah, of course it is, but it just doesn't make sense that you have your sale, your biggest sale of the year, just before the busiest shopping period of the year. It just makes no sense. You wouldn't get American being daft enough to have their Thanksgiving sale now, would you? Because Thanksgiving hasn't happened yet. They wouldn't do Black Friday now because I'm going to say they're not stupid, but they're Americans. So obviously they are very stupid. I have a nasty habit of talking sense. I know. But yeah, it's just bonkers that we kind of jump onto this thing. But anyway, let's go back to breaking news. The Daily Mirror describes the UK as a country run by clowns who put their own interests, ambitions before anything else. Well, you wouldn't expect anything else from the Daily Mirror. The only problem is Keir Starmer is just useless. Self-serving scanners. Whoops, what was that? Want seats. Oh, no, we don't care about that, do we? We don't care about that. Green Day cancels London gig minutes before doors due to open as fans queue outside. Oh, it's a mini gig they're doing. One of my daughter's favourite bands. Black Friday air fry deals 2023. The best early offers on Ninja, Swan, Terra and more. I might have to buy myself a Swan one because I want one with a grill in it. UK weather map show Brits face freezing temperatures. We've done that one already. We've done that one. Significant disorder from counter protesters. We covered that in the main news. Best Christmas market to visit in the UK for a magical experience. And Manchester have claimed it's them, but that picture is definitely not Manchester. You can't see it because this is breaking news. London's pro-Palestine march. Police detain 150 pro-Palestine demonstrators. I think they actually detained more of the other ones. Lewis Hamilton gets a Red Bull green light with F1 star struggling at Mercedes. That's bad news if Lewis Hamilton ends up in Red Bull. Oh, what's that? Cheapest and most expensive beers, pints of beer in Europe for tourists. So Oslo, Norway, £7.35. Another place in Norway, £7.38. Another place in Norway, £8.09. Another place in Norway, £7.75. Reykjavik in Iceland, £8.21. Switzerland, £7.29. London, a pint only costs £6.08. Who knew how cheap it was? Pardon me. I've got wind now. Oh dear, I keep burping. Self-serving scanners are heading for the skip. Let's bring back greater human customer service. Have you just thrown up? Or are you chewing your box? She's in a shoebox. Just bear me a second. It's a plastic floor, so it doesn't really matter if you have thrown up. I can wipe it up, but can't smell it. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. Interrupted by cat possibly vomiting. No, she hasn't. She's just... It might have been her belt thing. Yeah, it might have been her belt thing rubbing against... not a belt, a collar rubbing against the thing. Anyway, self-service scanners are heading for the skip. Let's bring back greater human customer service. Absolutely. Brexit. This is GB News. Brexit, Britain soaring with new £300 million trade deal boosting petrol, diesel and electric vehicles. Well done, Brexit. There's something to do with Australia cricket, but I don't care. King unveils statue of late Queen and Prince Philip at Royal Albert Hall. Okay. Beatles make UK chart history with #1 after 54 years gap. Yeah, well, no one's ever going to beat that. Let's be honest, it's not really the Beatles, is it? Surprising things you can spend Tesco Club Card points on with the expiry deadline ending soon. I've now, because I lost my club card and all my mum's club card, I've now registered for a new one, and I thought I'd just throw their algorithms out the window, so I called myself a Neater on it. It was the first name that came to my head. So I'm a Neater and I drink lots of Guinness and stuff like that. Oh. An Indian sweet shop that making over 100 kilograms of treats a day that has been run by 3 generations of the same family. New James Bond named electric car boasts 1200 kilometre range. Manchester United have just embarrassed the rest of the Premier League. I very much doubt that. So there you go then, that is the breaking news. Imagine Starmer driving a Tesla with Trump and Biden as passengers. Oh, we could hope for a fire, couldn't we? Yeah, the tills, it's ridiculous, the self-service tills. 18 #1s now. What that might do, actually, is might create more interest in some of the older stuff, so some of the other songs that never got to #1 might get to #1 now, a bit like Ed Sheeran did. Not that he's been 54 years gap. The good news is it's unlikely I'll live to see anyone do a 54-year gap. Because the Rolling Stones, they had hits in the 1970s and 1980s. I don't think they've had a #1 since. So there's a possibility they could do it. Not sure about anyone else. Anyway, it's time to look at the stats for this broadcast. We've had 32 views. We've had an average duration of over 20 minutes. In fact, nearly 21 minutes, which is very good. We've had 6 likes. We've got a chat rate of 1. We've not got into double figures of continual people on the chat at any one time. It's stopped at 9, but that's okay. I appreciate there's other stuff going on. It is a Saturday. When this reverts to Sunday, which will be next year, that'll probably go up anyway. So yeah, that's all good. Average duration, 20 minutes and 47 seconds. 5 concurrent. So give a big shout out. 6 likes, yeah. Give a big shout out to everyone. So Alan Barton, Smiling Mac, Sholeg Bades, Laney, Daniel Vernon, Luke Williams, JT and Rachel. JT, I've been on. How long have I been on for? Ooh. Nearly 2 hours. So yeah, you can go for your break now. He listens to it on a podcast. Smiling Mac, I've done him. As he mentioned them, just to clarify. Christ, you have to be careful what you say these days, don't you? Yeah, the same people. Anyone else come on? Normally have different people coming on. Already mentioned Laney, Alan, Angela, Luke, Alan. I'm going to shout out quickly, say something, and then we're away. How do people listen to podcasts? I've no idea. I have absolutely no idea. This registers as a podcast somehow. I've gone very pale, haven't I? What's going on there? I'm very bright. That's weird. Oh, that's why. I've just put myself on a delay. That's because I'm not watching it on the actual thing I should be watching it on. There you go. I've only ever been to one gig in my entire life. Admitted it was downloaded in 2007. So if you're going to do one, just go for the biggest and the best. Never been camping before. Never been on holiday with my daughter alone before. Never been on holiday with my daughter, to be fair. Never been since, either, to be fair. But yeah, that is it. Thank you very much for watching, if indeed thou still art. Good to have you on board, good to have your company. Because, let's be honest, there's no point otherwise. It's the most amount of work I put into anything on the channel, this. The other stuff I just do because I'm doing it anyway. This I actually have to concentrate on and get the news and find all the pictures and do all that kind of thing and edit them and crop them and download them and upload them and everything. So it's an absolute challenge, shall we say, to get this going. Anyway, that is it. Thank you very much. Just short of 2 hours of massive entertainment and fun. You enjoyed it, didn't you? Yeah, me neither. Never been to a gig, even ever camping, motoring show, nothing. Oh, I was the chairman of a stock car club, as I've said a few times. So yeah, I've been to many motor race things. Been to tons of gigs, tons. Listening to tunes at tons of gigs. Anyway, that is it. Thank you very much for watching, if indeed you still are. I will see you all again next time. So yeah, I will be seeing you. Until then, bye! I said bye in a funny way, because it always makes people laugh. It doesn't make people laugh at all. But anyway, yeah, there you go.